we will put it up on our YouTube channel as well, so other people can catch up with it later. So today we are hearing from our head of school, Professor Tina Du, and she is going to talk to us about the information journey. The nature of these research seminars is that we highlight the research work of members of our school. So it's great to get some input from the head of our school to hear what her research work is being undertaken at the moment. So I'll hand over to Tina. She's got some slides that she'll share with us. And Tina, do you want questions at the end, or are you happy to do that?
Either way.
Okay. All right. So you can pop some questions into the chat, and or we can save until the end. And I've had a request to put on captions, so I will give that a crack, and I'll hand over to Tina. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Jen. Let me share. I think you need to give me the access to share my screen. Yep. All good now. My screen. Slides. Okay. Can you see my screen? Yeah, good. Thanks very much, Jen, and thanks very much, colleagues, for the opportunity to present my work on information journey. And actually, I'm very much going to enjoy the next 1 hour as pure, researcher. So the talk I'm going to, focus on today is information behavior, information journey. We have colleagues here like Wasim, Yanstan, and others. You're doing human information behavior studies. Let me know if some others are missing, also doing the information behavior studies. As Jen mentioned, I work on, the library information studies. That's the discipline where I work on my research projects. And my topics across information behavior, community engagement, user technology interactions. And today I focus on information behavior, and particularly looking at information journey. That's a contextualized, holistic, and dynamic approach to study information behavior. For people who do not know or not familiar with information behavior, I would like to give a bit of background information before I move on to the specific notion of information journey. Now, information behavior research is concerned with how people find and use information and seek meanings out of the information they interact with. So not just about the interactions between people and information, but people's understanding and the information and their existing knowledge and change and updated knowledge in their mind. So this is kind of the meaning-making, sense-making process also involved in this information behavior. Information behavior contains human information interactions associated with technology use. So when people and information interactions, they also involve the technology use. For example, people seeking information from social media. It's all, a topic of information behavior. We look at how people interact with social media or generative AI or robots to gather information and seek meaning of these interactions. So basically, human information technology interactions. And information behavior describes the way in which humans seek, they search for and manage and use information and social technology in diverse contexts. There's lots of studies. Information behavior is an important area of library information studies. So we study people in multiple contexts, no matter it's in education, learning, or workplace environment, or everyday life, like these people are doing leisure information behavior, or people like migrants information behavior. So it is multiple contexts to meet their information needs. there's mostly, studied behavior of information. Topic of information behavior is information seeking. They call it information seeking behavior. Information seeking is commonly seen as behavior of the location of relevant or useful information in relation to a goal or to a need. So we have a need, it's called information need. We need for some information. We're trying to locate of this relevant and useful information. As we mentioned relevance here or usefulness here, as you can see, this is a sense-making process or judgment process. So when a learner is placed at the center, the goal of information seeking is no longer merely getting the relevant information, but getting information that leads to a new understanding of the process of learning. So that's a explanation is a while ago by Carol Kusa, who is one of the pioneer in the information behavior information studies area. And we know she has very famous 6-stage model, information thinking process model for 6 stages. Have those understandings, have people's interaction with information, find the relevant information, and get understanding, and lots of intellectual activities involved in that process. So people engaged in expanding their knowledge base and actively constructing a view of the world. As I mentioned earlier, they have the multiple, subfield of human information directions or information behavior studies, such as information thinking behavior, information judgments, judge the quality of information, and information use, and how people use the information to solve their problem or meet their information needs, and information sharing, how people share the information, with counterparts or within the organizations, etc. So, however, they have mostly studied in isolation, for example, as information thinking behavior, as most of information behavior literature focuses on information thinking behavior. It's long-standing topic, judgment of information quality or information use behavior. So these all most commonly we see them studied in isolation. Why we call information journey? Because we look at the holistic, we seek the holistic understanding of information behavior. Information journey, this concept was initially proposed by Anne Blanford and her colleagues at UCL, University College London, back to 2005. So I learned this information journey concept in her talk at the Information Thinking in Context conference in Tokyo, Japan, back to 2012. So actually, she has coined the information journey concept back to 2005, but in SICS, Informed Thinking in Context conference as Human Behavior Conference, biannual conference, as in 2012 when I attended in Japan, and she gave a keynote. She was invited to give keynote on information journey. So that's the first time I encountered this concept, and has a lot of interest to study on this concept. Well, information journey, briefly, it depicts holistic and contextualize the human information interactions, which incorporate information thinking, judgments, user sharing, trying to bring all these sub-information behaviors together, so it's holistic, but it's also, in the context to look at this phenomenon of multiple information, sub-information behavior areas. So this contextualized approach or framework stood to study information behavior. So it looks at, users' requirements on information, so the information needs, and also it also look at to seek the understanding of social support from system or service perspective, as well as their understanding of the situation which are evolving or changing. So they focus on people, but in different multiple contexts to look at how people's information needs, generated how their information needs are generated, and how they seek information, make judgment to the quality of this information, make sense of the information, and use information, and sharing information in that journey. As well as associated systems or service support that journey process. Information journey treats the user's information behavior as dynamic. It's not the static, it's dynamic process and involving as their understanding in both interactions, human technology, human information interactions, and the people's understanding about this current need or phenomenon. Well, information journey notion extends human information interaction beyond the seeking information, including validating and interpreting information and applying that interpretation to solve information tasks or satisfy information needs. So facilitation or interpretation may lead to the recognition of a new or redefined the information later, triggering another round of information journey. So you say this is a dynamic, contextualized, sometimes iterative process of understanding. So actually, always real life is more complex than a simple research topic, but we're trying to using more powerful tools or framework to interpret, to explain the phenomenon. This is a table I, had in my information processing management paper published last year to summarize and compare and contrast the major information journey models. And I list the 3 major models here. The one is Anne Blanford's 2005 3-stage model. A second one is 5 years later, and she and her colleague published a 4-stage model. And the other major model is my model working in marketing context. The first 2 models, they work in dentist, I think if I remember correctly, in academia and health context. A second major model in 2010 is in the healthcare, journalism, and law. So based on these series studies, that came up with these models, 3-stage model, 4-stage model. And I came up with the 5-stage model based on marketing professionals, marketing work context. So I did this comparison and contrast across these 3 major models, focusing on each stage's information behavior, including need, information encountering, seeking, retrieval, searching, judgments, making sense, and sharing, as well as the system support or service support through design, how we can design systems or technologies, service to support this behavior, these human information interactions. So as I mentioned, I study the information journey concept initially is from a marketing context back to 10 years ago in 2014. That paper was published in JASIST. It's called Task-Driven Information Journey. It's work task-driven information journey. So the work task incurred the people's marketing professionals or the marketing professionals a need for certain information and how they go through that journey to finish the work tasks. So this work task-driven information journey, that's my first study on information journey. It's incorporating information thinking, judgments, use, and sharing. The data included 1,198 diary entries. I used the diary method to collect the marketing professionals' information behavior activities. Those diary entries relating to 101 real work tasks that recorded or captured by this marketing professional involved in the study for a period of 5 working days. So that in that paper, I firstly described this information journey 5-stage information journey model, and to enhance the holistic understanding of information behavior by illustrating their interrelationships between the information thinking, judgment, use, and sharing in teamwork. Also clarified the stages of information behavior, the 5 stages, to include this information use in relation to other behaviors like seeking, sharing, judgment, sensing, and information environments in the marketing working context. The nature of a human behavior as dynamic instead of static that involves the evolution of human information interactions and understanding. As I give this abstract understanding in the beginning of my talk. So this is not only about human information interactions, but also about the people's understanding about their need, about the problem, about task at hand. So this is a 5-stage model published in that paper, describing the work task driven generated information need through these 5 stages model. And in that process, they also have interesting concept I adopted from a radio sublineal, sublineal's everyday life information thinking models and information practice, and he proposed. So I adopted his concept called information gaps or gap bridging techniques. So I see, okay, in this model, I look at the information journey of marketing professionals as they trying to solve these work tasks at hand, but also having these gap bridging techniques to describe, to trying to understand, explain that's the behavior actually happened in the work context. From that study, I proposed some design implications for supporting the marketing professionals' information journey. So information systems should be more task-oriented than source-oriented, not just only provide source, but based on the task. I think, now a lot of searching systems, they have a lot of research already, on these task-oriented information systems, search engines based on the task, etc. But information system is broad. It's not just about search engines, database, any knowledge systems, and the BI system in the workplace should be more task-oriented than source-oriented. And when information behavior is viewed as journey, like process, information system need to go beyond the seeking and the gathering information to support evaluation, people's evaluation involved. Sense-making process, meaning-making process, and information use sharing of information. The design or marketing information system need to fit into workplace knowledge management mechanisms. The information environments also considered in these studies as part of the model. So need to fit into understand the workplace knowledge management mechanisms. It could be via the system, the BI system, but also you could have this very traditional, manual managed system in their files, etc. Both traditional and digital archiving systems, so managing this knowledge in the workplace, which are deemed important in support of information sharing and collaboration in workplace information thinking. So they should facilitate accessing, sharing, distributing, and reusing the knowledge created by other people within the organization. So then I trying to develop the information journey concept and the model in my following projects. These projects actually is related to my DECRA project, which was finished in 2019, is about collaborative information journey to understand tourist collaborative information behavior to inform design. We're trying to understand the group behavior of information thinking, and I call it a collaborative journey. We're still working on this concept and trying to give this, validate or extend the information journey model. So in this particular, tourism application context and trying to understand the tourists, international tourism, international journey information journey of international tourists as they traveled from China to Australia. So we aim to optimize ways of collaboration between the small groups of tourists. And also aim to determine the characteristics of the young Chinese tourists their collaborative information thinking activities for their leisure travel to Australia. So they are not on business, they're just purely for relaxing, leisure travel to Australia. From initial planning to the actual visit. So we look at very prolonged the period from before, the initial planning, before they travel to Australia, before their journey, and during the journey, the actual visit to when they get from Australia, get back to the home country. So the whole journey. So we look at the whole journey in that prolonged period, how their information behaviors happened within a small groups of tourists. The tourism now is more, like group behavior. So could behave, travel like family members or friends, colleagues, or just donkey friends and strangers they found from the website or tourism forums. They can travel together. So that's very common in tourism research. So we examined how tourists navigate information and technology resources over the travel period in the naturalistic environment as people travel. It's not in the lab environment, or designed environment. It's in the naturalistic environment. We're also trying to unfold the complexity in CS journey and provide evidence for user-centered collaborative system design. That's our research design. They have multiple methods you applied in this research project, including pre-trip interview, en route diaries, and post-trip interview. And interesting that we have these accommodated multiple, data collection techniques. We're not, limited to. We did not limit it to, collecting the written diaries, because people on the during the travel, and we allow them to send us text messages, or because they're Chinese tourists, so they use WeChat or not. So we allow them to send us a WeChat video. We can analyze these video clips about the information related to the activities, behaviors, and collaboration between these small groups. They also can send us voice messages, etc. So that's a multiple formats of data we collected, and we do the transcriptions into the test for analysis. Well, this is the final data set of that prolonged period data collection. So we had 63 real tourists from China to Australia from 20 travel groups. They spread in 20 travel groups of a total of 63 real tourists, and age with aging between 21 to 39. So they are under 40, the young tourists. So we collected the 41 background questionnaires, 62 pre and post-trip interviews. It's a huge amount of data, and 109 during trip diaries in multiple formats. So the group size is from 2 to 8 people. Travel length ranged from 3 to 22 days per trip. And in this project, we're also looking at the gaps and gap region strategies in group travelers collaborative thinking and technology use. So as I mentioned, from my initial study on the information journey in 2014, I look at the marketing professionals' information journey. They're in a working context. So look at this whole information related behavioral activities, interactions, their understandings, including the gaps. And these collaborating from journey, we find that this model also applies. So we look at the gaps and also gap region strategies in this group travelers collaborating from thinking journey. We use multiple, approaches or framework to analyze. For example, there's some of data, we use grounded theory approach to critically examine 2 travel sessions, initial planning and actual visit. We're also employing the cognitive work analysis framework by Ria Fidel to study the tourism CIS role within social and cultural context. Also using content analysis and information journey framework to uncover the gaps encountered and the gap region techniques, strategies adopted by the group tourists in collaborative thinking and technology use. We reported the first study, I think the a bit mature findings in information processing and management journal in 2021. That's led by my PhD student, Moda, in that study. I also, presented at different conferences, for example, the CHAIR conferences, to look at the gap region, to report the gaps and gap region strategies. CHAIR is a dedicated conference on human information interactions. They more focus on the user side. This is a kind of user computer interactions, human technology interactions, but more focused on user side. That's more less technical, conference. So that's some results related to gaps and gap region strategy in collaborative information sinking journey. For example, tourists demonstrated adaptive CS behavior over the trip as they solved or compromised the gaps encountered, and seeking help from others, trying at alternative sources and cross-checking were most popular strategies to bridge the information quality gap. And tourists were found to be more receptive to or exhibit more reliance on knowledgeable interpersonal sources. Could be, group members or the people outside the group, than using some search strategies or searching online. So we are still doing that project, and I'm trying to working on this collaborative information journey study, and we are working on this publication at the moment. Another study I just mentioned in my 2003 paper last year, IPM paper, we look at the immigrants, immigrants' information journey, information behavior. It's driven not by working task, not by tourism, travel activities, but driven by the late life migration, late life this life transition. So this is a project that we're still working at the moment. It's called Studying the Late Life Migrants' Social Inclusion and Wellbeing from Information Journey Perspective. This data collected initially actually started from 2017, 2018, when I was still in Adelaide. So in that paper, I reported the information journey of late life migrants to inform the support design. As I said, the design could be the systems of services and supports. Late life migrants are migrants who migrated in their late life. For example, people retired in their home country and they migrate to Australia and after retirement. So at their late ages, the old ages, so we call late life migrants. So in this paper, we threw the intersection lens of information behavior in transition theory by Ian Ruthven in 2012 and my 2014 information journey framework. So you can say, usually when we, this is my own experience, when I'm trying to developing something new or a new theoretical framework, I need to look at what's happening related to my current study phenomenon. So what's picking up some relevant theories to think about, to think through. So this one is from this intersection lens of information behavior in transition theory and the information journey framework I developed back to 2014. Unlike task-oriented information journey, no matter is work task or tourism activities to search for a tourist attraction or trying to find a good restaurant. So these are task-oriented information journey, right? So unlike task-oriented information journey, information thinking reporting in this study was driven by major life transition. So that means late life migration. The people decided to or tended to migrate at the late life stage. So that's the major life transition. Implications are to support information interactions spanning multiple stages of late life migration information journey. So this is a model I drew and developed based on this data of 22 interviews and focus groups, of 3 focus groups and interviews data. It's event of major life transition migrating to a new country and old age. It's also 5 stages, as I mentioned, is in light of this, you know, information behaving transition theory, the cross-ray stage, 3 major phases, including understanding, negotiating, and resolving. And for and this information journey framework across 5 stages will seek information for migration, identify concerns, orientating the new setting, that's local information landscapes, in information sense making, understanding, responding to the new information reality, and reconstructing information landscapes. So this is a dynamic process because a lot of people, older adults in this study, they still tangled, living here in Australia or going back to China or their home country, for example. So that's a life transition oriented information journey. So we're trying to build an information journey theory and models based on different studies, and we look at the consistencies and differences across these studies and models to validate or extend the information journey model and framework. Well, the compound effects actually, as you can see, of in this particular older adults, the migration information journey, they have aging, immigration, culture, and limited proficiencies in English affected the migration experience and associated information practice of late life migrants in unique ways. It's very complex issues. There's lots of things to study on. As social support systems, I called it as the problem-centered information intermediary, the adult or partner. So they're information intermediary, but they are problem-centered. Undoubtedly, play a significant role in empowering and including these older adults in society. So information behaviors take place across all 3 phases of this transition. Which more occurs at understanding than the negotiating and resolving phases. So that means support should get more support should be provided to facilitate the understanding of the new reality. Well, here is a comparison between the task-driven and the major life transition-driven information journeys. Unlike information journey intertwined with workplace, or tourist activities, information journey driven by international migration at one's older age is associated with information that is required for navigating a significant life transition. So this is a very complex decision they need to make, and still making. They're not settled yet for some of our participants. And different from the work task, oriented information journey, moving to a foreign country can trigger many concerns and uncertainty, even anxiety, which often requires for extensive information gathering and continuing information gathering and interpretation and sense making, meaning making. But both models recognize the ongoing uncertainties and associated information interactions in multiple stages, which takes place in a nonlinear form. So it's not just from thinking to sharing, that's it. So it's a kind of back and forth. It's nonlinear form as it's a dynamic. So that's back to the topic I focus on today. It's information journey. I contextualized the different contexts, marketing, workplace, tourism, or migration, late life migration. Contextualized a dynamic approach to study information behavior. Some key focus areas to further research. One is approach of studying information behavior through the information journey lens, empowers information researchers to recognize the inherent massively the real world and develop theory in practice, develop theory from the practice. So that gives us the powerful tool or framework to look at this massiveness of the real world. The second one is information journey as a framework for developing design solutions or systems or support to information system or service that enable different stages of information interactions to be linked together to create a smoother overall user experience. That's back to our field is we focus on user, we focus on people. That makes it unique from other correlate disciplines. The notion of information journey indicates the adaptability as information behavior involves in progression over prolonged period, as I mentioned. So there's other areas you could study, for example, information thinking in a disease trajectory. That's could be is an interesting topic to work on. It's in a prolonged period to look at this adaptability of information behavior or information interactions. Well, the above, I talked one of my study focus recent research activities look at information journey. In my information and innovation lab, I established when I was at UniSA, and we still have people working on that area. We still working together with my PhD students and the collaborators. So in that lab, we look at the broad, interactions or interplay between people, information, technologies. As you can see, it's a highly interdisciplinary area and need to use multiple or mixed method design. So, but our ultimate purpose is to increase improve better user experience and provide, propose novel research methods and improve the information system service recommendations. So we look at, as a team, we look at human information behavior, online searching, collaborative information thinking, public libraries and social capital. So still focus on these institutions and people's information access. That's a fundamental issue in library information studies. And also we look at impact-driven research, community engagement, marginalized communities, as well as the data privacy and the governance that I, as a co-collaborator, a co-investigator involved in colleague in Swinburne University of Technology, they led ARS Linkage project. We just finished that. It's completed. We submit the report early this year. It's about understanding users, privacy protection on cloud. So they look at, I steer from users' perspective to look at the overall life cycle user privacy protection. So, and also we organized, my colleague and I organized, it's already published last year or 2012, perhaps 2 years ago. It's about the ICT 4D, so information technology for design, for development, and the intersection of information field as a special issue we organized in JASIST. It's published in 2022 or 2023-ish. We also organized a special issue in information processing management. This is focusing on these marginalized communities and social innovation and technology, emerging technologies. So this is the overall the people we're doing. So I would like to acknowledge you cannot always do things by your own, right? You cannot do this. You definitely need the collaborations. You need to teamwork. So I would like to acknowledge the many previous and current PhD students, visiting scholars and colleagues and collaborators. And I'm looking forward to extending that collaboration here at CSU. So that's my talk. Thanks, Jen.
Great. Thank you so much, Tina. Has anybody got any questions? We've got lots of clapping there.
I'm trying to stop sharing.
Anyone got any questions for Tina? Wasim, I imagine you have questions.
Yeah, well, I can give it a go. So thanks, Tina, for talking about the information journey concept, and also so it was quite good to see how you linked actually the concept with some of the practical implications. But I would like to have your thoughts on actually establishing the boundaries of the concept, because from your description, it was not clear to me that actually how you can put the boundaries around information journey, because it will continue to go on and on and on and on, right? And if we can't put the boundaries around a concept, like when it is going to start and when it is going to end, and also information journey will have interruptions within it also as well. So it's not a continuous process, right? Yeah, so what are your thoughts actually, on its boundaries,
Yes, this is a good question. I think the boundaries, you mean, how to define this research scope or the research phenomenon when we study the information journey. I think that's really, depends on, what kind of research questions you want to look at, what research questions you want to address. It is definitely, if you see the journey, we set these because we're trying to, I think that in my point of view is trying to understand, what really happened within these complexities of the peoples, no matter in their everyday life or what context. So the boundaries, I think this is definitely they have a it really depends on, we look at still the periods. I mean, for example, for operational perspectives and how to, from the operational perspective, how do we collect the data to, when you say the research scope of this phenomenon, and you're trying to collect, for example, when the migrants, the late life migrants, the information journey study, we trying to understand just before they make the decision, they launch the application for immigration. And when they study being here, and I think, in our study, the average, I think, is about 3 years of living in Australia, arranged from the couple months to 6, 7 years. So we look at these still, when we study this phenomenon of information journey, I think the is really look at, which the starting point, and this look at the period that's what they experienced, what they interacted, including the information technologies. I don't know if I have answered your question, but I think this is a good question, Wasim. When you think about the research boundary or research, scoping, when you study this phenomenon, definitely, and it is continuously. I don't think this because it interrupted, it might be, paused, but it's not stopped.
Yeah, and I think it's good that you're, because another thing interesting thing which the way you are comparing different models. So what I'm hoping is that, let's say from 5 years from now, actually, you arrive at, generalized actually, or the common patterns across all of these models in order to then not summarize, but in order to actually arrive at simplicity, which is actually underneath that complexity. Because then actually it will give an answer to, to these questions, that what information journey is at its very core, and then how, because some of the information journeys will be initiated by tasks actually, right? Like if I'm faced with a task, if I want to buy a ticket, let's say for air travel, then obviously I'm going to be on an information journey, but it's a micro level journey as compared to a migrant who is traveling from one country. So it's a bigger level journey. But then what is like a generalized kind of an understanding of an information journey? But anyways, this I will leave it to you, and for future research, it seems to be quite, interesting. Yeah, thanks very much.
Yeah, I just also want to add that I think, I could not or want to argue for this generalization of this information journey model, because it's usually, as qualitative studies, uh, across all these studies, throughout these studies, you see, it's usually have small samples, 22, or although the data varies, okay. So we realize that is when we want to extend this journey, extend this model, validating this model instead of generalizing. But as maybe ultimately the goal in the end is to identify some of these core elements definitely across these models. Yeah, thanks.
Good. Thanks, Wasim. Rachel, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I was interested because especially with this idea of, becoming to a country and the difficulty of ongoing processing of place versus the potential expectations of place. And I'm wondering in terms of this, just drilling down into that, because obviously when people are making decisions about migration or even making decisions to holiday somewhere, they have constructed an idea of what they're going to receive when they go to a place and what they might experience when they go to a place versus what really happens there. And I know that I've been doing some research on this in a very particular area where, say, for example, in one culture where in Japan, the external idea of Cool Japan as a marketing campaign for tourism has very little to do with the actuality of the culture. And so it creates a real dissonance where people show up and are very confused in some regards, as well as being able to be delighted and to think of society in a particular way. But it's problematic when people are trying to make decisions to go to a place that there are elements of their information seeking that will be informed by things like a tourist board, external information that's designed to be appealing, and doesn't necessarily give those other sort of difficulty elements, the pain points of moving to a place. I wonder for you in your research whether or not there's an element of that is specific to, say, for instance, seductive marketing that paints a rosy picture of migration or destinations.
Yeah, definitely. We call it information dissonance. That's the people's expectations and the reality they experienced when they have the different the cognitive understandings, or difference understandings that they have. We actually explain this the phenomenon called information dissonance in another paper with Nadia Cady, who studied information. We studied the parallel studies in Adelaide and in Toronto to look at what people bring with them and their expectations about new places, especially as migrants, but what they experienced here when they arrived. So the big difference, the dissonance. And also lots of also the considerations were given to tourists as they planned. A lot of people they plan, they like to do some planning, that's why they have a lots of also blogs, or forums. They publish those planning documents by the other similar tourists who go to the same destinations. They did planning and they found that difference. A lot of something unexpected happened here in the destination. So they have those. So we call here it as gaps, gap bridging techniques to bridging these gaps. So it's indeed, this is definitely interesting phenomenon to work on. Yeah.
Great. We got two more questions. Yes, Dan, you were first.
Right. Thank you, Tina, for such an informative and comprehensive presentation. This is a fascinating concept. It's very comprehensive and, contextualized. You mentioned SICS 2012. Interestingly, I was there in Tokyo because I didn't have a paper. I was just participated because I was already in Japan for 3 months. So we probably met each other, but we didn't know each other in that time.
Yeah. It's
Yes,
such a great experience,
It's
Yeah.
a small world. So my question is, you mentioned information seeking, sharing, all these different aspects. My question is, to what extent you looked at information encountering? Because in these, especially for the second group immigrants, they might have lots of opportunities for information encountering by serendipity. So did you look at this in your research, or are you going to look at in future?
Yeah, serendipity, we didn't look at this particularly in these immigrants studies, but I think the serendipity did happen during the tourists, the collaborative informed thinking, as all these, serendipitors, sorry, excuse me, and these serendipitors encountering, so the information recommended, or they just, as they go, they find more interesting attractions to go. So in tourists, the experience definitely serendipities as more significant. Sorry, excuse me.
Yes.
But in immigrants, this study, serendipity is not that significant as the tourist research.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking, you mentioned the messiness of the information platform and all these things. It might be a positive side of that messiness. Because as again you mentioned, it's non-linear. It's not necessarily always happening in a linear way. So that's why I was thinking it might be a good topic to look in more detail in your future. But in general, fascinating topic, and good luck with the rest of your research. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Yasta.
And Travis, you have 8 minutes.
Yeah, thanks, Tina. There's a really interesting thread that kind of relates to a lot of this in communication studies as well, which looks at the relationship between place and media. And in particular, there's a spate of studies which looks at the role of media in allowing immigrant communities to remain connected to their home communities as well. So there's an aspect of that where it's not just about information seeking in their sort of new communities, but also perhaps how they operate in two places via mediated tools as well. So yeah, I'd be interested to explore that further. I realize that's a comment more than a question, but it's some work that I was doing during my PhD, and there's a really good book called Media, Place and Mobility by Sean Moores, which looks at that. And there's a guy at Monash University, I think, or RMIT, who's also working on that as an ARC project at the moment. Irvin Cabell Quinto. So yeah, really interesting work.
Thanks, Travis. I think that's a very important point you mentioned, especially for the immigrants. They are information journey, and they use all these medias, they as important information source, and how they get survive and in this foreign country using these traditional medias in back to their home country, and also these digital medias. They have a lots of studies actually from communication discipline, communication researchers, when look at these communication technologies to establish or explore this digital kinning in immigrants, the group. This is a very interesting topic. I have a colleague, we had a chat a lot about this. She's from the Chop University. Her name's Relay Whiting. She has worked on the cohort adults care and aging, but she's a sociologist, and she also looking at these communication technologies in supporting these people from Vietnamese backgrounds, Chinese, Sri Lanka, so how they using these communication media studies, and communications to support those people settling in a host country.
Great, thank you, Tina. And there's been some really good comments going on in the chat there. Things like the effect of Google Translate in information seeking in different languages, and that whole idea of dissonance between messages that people might receive when they're doing their information seeking. Deborah has asked for a copy of the slides, and
Yeah, happy to share.
great. And Michelle has also highlighted the role of community radio in connecting migrants to their new communities. So thank you for all those great comments. So we'll wrap up for now. Thank you very much, Tina, for your time and for sharing your research with us. It's been really interesting. Next month, we will be hearing from Yazdan. Thank you, Yazdan. I'm not sure what your topic will be, but I'm sure it'll be brilliant.
Thank you.
Want to
It's
share what
about
your topic
leisure
is?
again, yeah.
What will it be?
It's going to be about leisurely information.
Leisurely information. Fantastic. You are the world expert, I'm sure, so it'll be great to hear from you. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming along, and we'll catch up with you next month. If you want to share this presentation with anyone, as long as Tina's okay with it, we'll be popping it up on the school YouTube channel, so you can share it that way.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank you very
everybody.
much, Jen. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.